What is generally referred to as chaos is actually an ordered process, and I'm referring to the column of air that travels around the globe that supports all of the weather that impacts us here at the surface, from our heat waves to our severe weather risks, our hurricanes, and really everything in between. I'm referring to the LRC, the LISAC Recurring Cycle. This is a relatively new long-range forecasting technique, and the methodology behind the LRC is every fall a unique weather pattern forms, and then that weather pattern will repeat every so many days through the winter, spring, and summer until a new LRC forms that following year. Using the methodology is once you know what the weather patterns look like, and I'm referring to the upper level charts, the upper level maps, and if I can find the right one here, we are going to be referring to these maps right here. The methodology shows that if you know what this river of air above us looks like, something similar to this is going to happen again the same amount of days, or roughly within a couple days, because the LRC is an oscillating pattern, meaning that if it's coming in at 45 days, there are portions that are a little slower at 43, or a little faster at, say, 47. And maybe I said that backwards. It's as slow as 47 days or as fast as 43, but it averages out about 45 days. So roughly 45 days from this event right here, and I'm pointing at the screen, use the mouse here, this enhanced risk would happen again 45-ish days later. Well, let's go 43 days into the cycle, as this portion of the pattern is coming in just a little quick, correlates to this date right here, the 6th of May, the high risk in Oklahoma and Kansas. And I did a whole video on this exact setup a couple days ago. Well, yesterday, I think. Go check it out, and we'll get a little more into detail and show you more of the LRC in action with this. But what we're going to be doing is this whole week of severe weather, the risk over that 4-day stretch, was initially forecasted from Weather 2020 and from those who use the LRC to a point. I don't think many of us were expecting a high risk out of it, but the potential for a severe weather outbreak was likely. It was given a 50% chance of reoccurring in February, is when that was issued, for the 6th through the 10th of May. And we kind of discussed a little bit more about that in the last video. But what happens after this event? If we're going to continue to use the methodology that 45 days later from these events that played out, those 4 days that brought severe weather potential and outbreaks to the central and eastern portion of the United States, is going to happen again, what happens after that? We're making our next prediction, me and you right now. I'm showing you when our next severe weather outbreak is going to be, or at least our next potential for severe weather. Well, if we continue to play this forward, we're going to go to a fun date here, which was April 1st and April 2nd. If our pattern, that's going to, again, based on the LRC, and I'm doing this to show you the proof of the methodology behind it, is at 45-ish days, so 43 to 47, averaging 45 here, will happen again. We will get another trough to dig across the U.S. and likely produce another severe weather outbreak in areas of the central United States and into the east with this storm system that will eventually roll off into the northeast. A pretty good-looking storm system back in April. What will it look like again as we head into May? Well, we're fairly close to seeing those dates. Using a 45-day-ish cycle from April 1st would bring us to the 16th of May. And we are on the 7th of May right now, so this is going to be about 9 days from now. And I actually haven't even looked to see if the models are predicting anything, but we will likely begin to see something that resembles something over these couple of days. Although in May, the jet stream is probably going to be a little further to the north. It may even be a little stronger than this. We will see how this exactly plays out. Maybe we're going to see this whole risk shifted a little further to the north. So again, I'm not saying that it's going to be a high or a moderate risk for severe weather, but I would imagine we would at least see an enhanced risk. I'd give it a good probability of this reoccurring, and maybe this shifts a little further, and we'll just use a nice purple color here so we're not using specific risk categories. But if this is our original risk area, maybe we're going to be focusing somewhere over up in North Dakota and coming back down off the Rockies. Maybe that's going to be our next risk area with this storm, with the bullseye probably being in this area right here, kind of similar to where it was. This is just a very weak abstract drawing here I'm doing on the fly, and I do have some graphics that I might be able to show you for this event. And actually, I think that I do. Let me see if I can pull this up. Be patient with me here. I'm trying to pull this up on the fly. This would be May. I'm in April. I'm trying to show you the graphic that was created. So this is the graphic. And let's get rid of me here for a second. This was the graphic that was for the 6th and 13th of May. This one actually played out fairly similar to what actually happened. And I think in here we have the risks that were overlaid in here, and maybe we don't. But I will show you the risk if I can get in here nicely enough. I will show you the May risk. May 6th through the 18th. And this is actually taking a lot longer. I can't seem to find it in here anywhere. Here we go. May 4th through the 18th. This is likely a day 1, 2, and 3 risk. So this is from Weather 2020. Let me zoom up here a little bit so you can see it. A 30 to 40% probability between the dates of the 14th to the 18th, this coming back around. It's kind of through a similar area that I was drawing here. So we're pretty close on here. I think Gary from Weather 20 has got this part shaved off a little bit up to the north. But regardless, we'll be looking for something similar to this to happen again as we head into April. But what about after that? Or excuse me, not April, May, around the 16th, 18th of May. What are we going to see happen after this? Well, let's play it forward a little bit longer and see what our next risk was. Here is the 6th of April. Let's go 45 days after the 6th of April. We're on May 21st, somewhere around there. And if I can ever select the right graphic, here we're going to see another area of low pressure coming in. This is going to be potential for severe weather in areas of the central and northern plains this time. And after that, we'll see that shift switching a little further down here. We have a couple more moderate and high risk. This wave right here is going to be something to keep an eye on, although I'm not the most confident in this one playing out as it's kind of getting ripped around the secondary low to the north, or maybe you call the southern low a secondary low. This would likely get shifted a bit further to the north if we're able to see this come back through. And I want to take a quick look here and see if this is one of the dates that is highlighted over the, say, the 10th of April, or from the 10th of April. This would be the 25th of May. And the May 21st through the 28th is one of our top severe outlooks to be keeping an eye on. And again, we can take a look here and see if I can find that risk. And I don't think I can. May 21st through the 28th, that's what we're talking about right here. This would be our next risk for severe weather to be keeping an eye on, would be throughout these areas. So let's check back on this in a little while from now. We'll go back and we'll check out the 16th through the 18th of May and then the 21st through the 28th of May, and we'll see how things kind of stack up compared to what just happened with the last storm and the outlook that was initially released back in February. So drop those questions, comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. I'll try and answer as many questions as I can.